Suspects accused of beating, shooting, and leaving a woman for dead in York County are facing new federal charges tonight. Good evening. I'm Stephanie Hudson. Local prosecutors set aside the original charges to allow federal prosecutors to take over the case. 10 on your side's Lauren Moss has the update. Lauren, the change in charges, I understand, has to do with gang activity.
Yeah, Stephanie, York-Poquoson Sheriff Ron Montgomery told me the federal charges are based on the RICO Act, or the Racketeer, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act. That's because it's alleged the suspects were involved in gang activity. This case goes back to earlier this year. Deputies say Tyosha Mitchell, was kidnapped from her Richmond home and brought to York County in May. Her body was found in the woods off Old Williamsburg Road with gunshot wounds. The sheriff's office later charged 5 people for Mitchell's death. Authorities say the suspects and Mitchell were part of Norfolk's Madstone Bloods, and Mitchell was killed after trying to leave the gang. Yesterday, prosecutors in court announced the charges were no prost or withdrawn. The reason? According to the sheriff, the case is being handed to the federal government. He says the feds are prosecuting this case, and right now only 2 of the 5 suspects have been formally indicted. Denisha Goodman and Acacia Jackson both have been federally charged with kidnapping resulting in death. The sheriff says Hezekiah Carney and Jaquan Jones are in federal custody on other charges and could be charged in this case. He says Jamisha Langley is going back to Richmond to serve time on a separate homicide.
So none of these individuals are going to be released. They are all in either federal or state custody, and going forward, at least 4 of them at this point in time will be facing federal charges for the death of Tyosha Tanique Mitchell. They were charged based on the RICO Act that gives the federal government jurisdiction in this. Anytime the 2 state or federal cases are performed in the furtherance of gang-related activity, that's a violation of the federal RICO Act, and that's what this is based upon.
Montgomery said this news is positive because now the suspects could face life in prison. I'll have more on this case coming up at 10 and 11. I'm Lauren Moss, 10 on your side.